This is a tutorial for the iSWA, the Integrated Space Weather Analysis web application, developed by the CCMC, the Community Coordinated Modeling Center at the Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland. The iSWA web application was designed to support NASA missions and other NASA efforts by providing data and model results for the space weather environment, both past, present, and past. So it can go back in time. In some cases, over a decade of data is available, showing the details of the space environment. So you can trace back over an entire solar cycle or more to look at some of the materials, the data that's available. For this tutorial, you'll see how to access the iSWA tool. We'll manipulate the signets, the data sets inside the tool, look at how to display the data at various dates that are available, add a new data set, encrypt the layout into a URL that can be shared with other people, and also how to get help. For accessing the dataset, you can go to the iSWA main page and start with a clean, fresh page, and that's this first main link here. Or we could use a predefined layout. Both these links are in the text associated with this video. I recommend starting with the predefined layout. And you should, I'm going to click on that now, we're going to go to that. And while this is loading, you should either stop the video or do what you need to do. I recommend that you open up your own layout and follow along as the video plays. Okay, so here we are in the iSWA tool. It opens in a web browser, which allows you have all of the web browser tools available, the menus available to you. Also some of the web browser controls. For example, I can make the screen a little smaller using Control minus, and also bigger using Control plus. Inside the tool, inside the web page, we've got all these individual windows referred to as signets. Initially, this was supposed to be the Space Weather Awareness Network. That was the original name for this tool. And so if that's SWAN, Space Weather Awareness Network. So a little swan is a signet inside the tool. So that's how they got these named signets. So you can see 4 different sets of data. 3 of them images from both SOHO and a ground-based observatory at Big Bear, and then one of them a timeline data set from the GOES X-ray instruments. Up top, this is a permanent portion of the display. You can hide it if you want or not. I'm going to keep it open for now. This is a sort of menu of all the signets that are available to you. They're organized in a few different ways. The first 4 tabs, these are all tabs here. The first 4 are the space environment domains, the solar domain, the heliosphere or solar wind domain, the magnetosphere, the ionosphere. Then there's a few other specialized tabs. So a tab for various spacecraft or planetary data sets or model runs. There's a few other trial tabs. Also, further over, that's interesting, is the tab for New Horizons. Let me see, when we make it bigger, there it is. So the tab for New Horizons, so this is we're doing this on June 29th of 2015. The New Horizons flyby is about to happen, the flyby of Pluto. And so they've got data sets supporting the flyby of Pluto and what they might expect to see. It looks like for the solar wind um, at Pluto. Okay, good. So we can add another data set to our little display. I'm going to make it smaller again. There we go. And I'm going to pick out, let's pick out, here's another data set from the SOHO EIT 304 instrument. We can pick that out, move it around, move it down here next to its buddies. And so now we see all 4 data sets all lined up with each other. The problem is that if you look carefully, this one doesn't look like these, or in the sense that it doesn't look like the sun is in the same state. And that is because this is from a different date. This is from today, June 29th, 2015. And these are from actually April of 2008. And so let's see how to adjust the dates. So we can go in and fix that. If at any time you need to stop and try something, you should do so and try different things. Go back and see how we got a new data set. Pull your own up. All right. So here we're going to change the date. So we click on the date. Go back to, just click on the year, go back to 2008, and we want it at April, and let's get the date pretty close, April 24th. I won't worry about the time right now. So there is the sun in this particular wavelength in April 2008, and now you see some of the features that are more prominent in the other images that are also there. We could, instead of doing that, have updated all of the signets at once. If you go up to the top here, go to the global date. Let's take a look at now June in, let's go to 2012. June, and we got to pick a specific date. So you might think that, well, you've got it all set, but you got to click on a specific date before you're done. And now you've got June 2012. I'm going to hit update, and now it's going to load all of these. Ooh, that one doesn't look so good. It looks okay, but it looks like something's going on with the instrument. So I'm going to go back to, let's go back another year. Update it now. Yeah. Okay. So this one is not great either, but you see all of them have updated. I'm gonna advance this one. One looks like oh, there it is. No, it finally loaded. Okay, great. So these are all now loaded for, and you see all the dates line up as close as they can. They don't line up exactly because they don't all necessarily haven't all come in. Notice also that the GOES timeline has also now been updated to that date. Basically what it did is it took that date and took that as the last data set, that date and time. That's the last data set you're getting, and then it took several days before that as to extend back. Another way to manipulate time with this these signets is to play a movie. So I can go down here to the little movie tool. See, it's really small, but if I click on that, I'm gonna click on that, and it's gonna load. It's not a movie so much as it's a flipbook movie basically. So it loads the last 10 frames. Independent of the quality of the frames and how good they are, you see some of the frames are there's a little bit of stuff happening with the data, but in any case, you get some idea of what's going on. So I'm gonna click on all the other signets also and get movies for them, and so it loads them all. I'm gonna pick another date again. I could pick on do a movie for this, but it's already a timeline, and so the timeline doesn't it wouldn't tell you much if you did a movie of that. I'm gonna change dates again. Let's go back to the beginning of June in 2012 and see what's going on there. And now all these are, aha, there we go. Oh, well, that's interesting. I just happened to pick this date at random, so there's a number of interesting things going on here. First off, one of the things I wanted to point out was that if you look at the Big Bear time cadences, you can see that the sun is rotating much faster in the SOHO images. Basically, if you look at the time cadences, it's like every 12 hours they're taking data. At this point in time in SOHO's lifetime in 2012, it had already been replaced by SDO, and SDO is the primary observatory, and so the SOHO data, the cadence for that has gone way down. Notice that the Big Bear Observatory has a much, much higher cadence. It's got a cadence on the order of minutes. And we just happen to catch, I think, I'm not sure, but I think this is the Venus transit. It's something's transiting in front of the sun and giving us that shadow, but I don't know exactly what it is. So I'd have to go check on that. I just happened to pick this at random. But you can see it's moving pretty fast, so I don't know what's doing that. In any case, so what things to watch out for? Watch out for the dates. Watch out for the cadences when you're doing this. As part of the movie, we could get, if we wanted to, more data. In fact, I'm going to get 30 frames. And I hit apply. So I went into the date time. There's a number of frames before the date. So, and again, the system does its best to try and accommodate whatever request you make. So if you ask for a particular date, it'll get the data set as close, the closest possible data set to that. And so you should keep an eye out, because the data set was out for that period of time. It'll go for the closest possible one, but it could be several days or months out of date. Not that, so watch out. Keep a careful eye on these dates down in the bottom there. Okay, so there we are. I'm going to go back to my little presentation. So we've accessed the various systems. We've looked at getting a new signet, moving the signets independently. We've adjusted the dates. We've made a movie. Now, you may want to, after you've done all this, you may want to say, well, yeah, I want to send this to my colleague, or I want to put it in a URL, or put it on a web page, or something like that. And so the way to do that is if you go back up here at the top, there's a Save Layout button. If you hit Save Layout, it's going to encrypt all of the information that's on this page, including which data sets you have, the position of the data sets, what date and times are available, and any of the movie information. So if you're making a movie, so you see I've reloaded the web page, but now it's got a fairly extensive URL that I can copy and paste into my presentation. Okay, and it looks ugly, but it works. And so you can copy this, send it to a friend. What I did, for example, with the predefined layout up here, was I actually went to one of the URL compressors and I gave it the URL and said, here, compress this into something that's more manageable, and so it did that. And you can, so that's how you can share this information. Okay. finally, getting help. To get help, you can again go up here to the top menu bar, hit help. This will open up the iSWA wiki, and there's a variety of different information here. I primarily use this to look at the features and functions. Sorry, not the features and functions. The catalogs. Let me go back up. Oh yeah. So I want the catalog, and I usually go by domain. That's how I break these things down. So you can go in here to the solar domain, and you find a lot of the material for each of these. So you find some description of each of these and maybe some references. Let's look at one of these other ones. Let's look at that one. So here is the SDO, description of the SDO. So some are more complete than others. It's a wiki. It's an ongoing development. And some of these also include some example layouts. Other example layouts, if we go back to the top of this, we can go to sample layouts, and they've got a few different sample layouts that are down here. These can be fairly complicated. I'm not going to click on them right now because it'll take too long to load, but you can see a lot of the different features and signets that are available on many of these layouts. These are layouts that were put together by people who are analyzing the space weather environment, and they're examples of what the pros use to do that. Alright, so that's the tutorial, and no tutorial is complete without doing an exercise. I am gonna I have to upload a new version of this, so that this tutorial may not be at that site. I will include that later on. But here are some exercises. So one is go back to the layout that we were working with and explore the image of the sun throughout the solar cycle and see if you can make some head or tails out of things. Another one is to look at solar wind data using the heliosphere tab and compare model results to maybe data that you find from, say, model results from, say, NLEL to data you find from the solar wind instruments on ACE or wind. You'd also find other data or model signets that you're interested in, and try and see what is available that would be helpful to you. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and I hope this tutorial was useful.